Coming up on today's show, is Rex Ryan the leader in the clubhouse for the Broncos DC job? Also, Vance Joseph got a long second interview with Denver. So what does that mean for the Broncos? And Dre'Mont Jones, is he getting tagged when the franchise tag window opens up tomorrow? All that's coming up. But first, when a hire is made, we'll be breaking it down here on the channel, which is why you have to subscribe so you don't miss any analysis, news, or takeaways from anything that Sean Payton does with his new staff. So help us reach our next milestone, 12,500 subs, by clicking that sub button. Now let's start things off by looking at Rex Ryan and the background on the longtime New York Jets head coach. Ryan interviewed in Denver on Saturday for the job. So one of two candidates to appear to get a second interview for the opening. Several insiders like Ian Rapoport and Mike Garafolo expect a hire to be made sometime this week, and Rapoport even called Ryan the favorite to get the job. Now, what's interesting is what Adam Schefter tweeted out just yesterday. He said former Jets and Bills head coach and current ESPN analyst Rex Ryan interviewed Saturday in Denver for the Broncos DC job. Okay, that's fine. Ryan and former Broncos head coach Vance Joseph are amongst a handful of candidates for the job. Ryan has told ESPN he would only leave the network for the perfect situation. So it's got to be a bit encouraging that if Rex Ryan ends up taking the Broncos job, he views it as an excellent spot and an excellent position that he doesn't have to go in there and completely revamp everything. Now, quick refresher, Rex Ryan's career. He was the Bills head coach for a season and 15 games from 2015 to 2016. He was the Jets head coach, of course, for a while. Great start, kind of a bad ending. But he had a lot of success in Baltimore. He was one of the best defensive coordinators in football. It got him the Jets job. It got that Jets defense rocking and rolling early on. But I think we need to remind people that it hasn't really gracefully ended for Rex Ryan. In fact, when you look at Rex Ryan's last 4 seasons as an NFL head coach, you can see that things haven't just plateaued, but they've sort of gotten from decent, 11th, 6 is great, but 19th and 19th in points allowed his last 2 seasons in Buffalo. It's not just points allowed, too. There's a lot of ways to measure a defense. But when you look at takeaways, for example, 31st, 32nd, his last 2 seasons with the Jets, 12th and 23rd. I mean, looking at 4 seasons, only one of them was top half in the NFL, and 2 of them were last or second to last. Rex Ryan, in my opinion, is a brilliant defensive coach. I don't think no one's going to deny that. But 6 years out of the NFL, 6 years removed from the league, in your last 4 seasons, you didn't have a top 5, top 10 defense at all. To me, we're looking at Rex Ryan, and I think we're all remembering what he did in Baltimore and with the Jets in 2009, 10, and 11, beating Tom Brady and the Patriots a couple times. But that was 10-plus years ago. That's my hiccup. That's my fear. Rex Ryan is a great defensive mind. I think he could be a very good coach. But I'm not sure if I'm going to, put my name down and stake a good wager on him being out of the league for 6 years. And when he was in the league 7, 8 years ago, it wasn't all that great defensively still. But be honest with me. Would you be happy with a Rex Ryan hire? Type H for happy or type U for unhappy. We're not just necessarily asking if you want him, but if you get the notification, hopefully from us, so get that notification bell clicked on, and it is breaking news. The Broncos have hired Rex Ryan as their defensive coordinator. What's your reaction going to be? Happy or unhappy? Some quick news I want to hit on here involving Sean Payton and his coaching staff. Mike Klis tweeted out that source confirms Sean Payton's longtime strength and conditioning coach in New Orleans, Dan Darymple, will join Broncos staff. Per staff directory, Corey Jones appears to be the lone holdover from the strength department. Strength and conditioning coaches are usually unknown and kind of go under the radar for most people. But I think for Denver, it's important to get this down because this is a team that's just been completely derailed by injuries the last couple of seasons, especially at the ACL. So hopefully, whatever the strength and conditioning coach can do to get that injury bug down, We can see that from Dan. We got more to get to on today's show, including Vance Joseph's half of the battle for the DC job. But first, Athletic Greens is our proud sponsor today. Today's Broncos Breakdown is sponsored by AG1, and I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. You can get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Now, I personally gave AG1 a try because I just didn't like taking pills and vitamins each morning and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. It really helps me in starting my day on the right foot and getting into a healthier lifestyle. I start the day with making one great choice, AG1, and more healthy decisions then follow. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix a small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing in the morning, and it's done. I also really like that it costs less than $3 a day, which, if you ask me, is pretty good. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality source ingredients, so a win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. I've got that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. Make sure you give them a visit. They've got awesome benefits like promoting gut health, supporting your immunity, along with boosting energy. So, with that being said, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming, and let's talk about Vance Joseph. He seems to be the other candidate. It kind of feels like it's down to two. Vance Joseph and Rex Ryan, although they might schedule a second interview with someone like Sean Desai, for example. Now, he had an 8-hour second interview on Friday. If you get an 8-hour interview for any job, you must be doing something right for them not to just want to cut it off at lunch and go, this is not going anywhere. Nope. Instead, it actually went all day long. Now, of course, it goes without saying, Vance Joseph, the Broncos head coach from 2017 to 2018, he compiled just 11 wins in 2 seasons. But Mike Klis tweeted this out, and I thought it had some good context, so I wanted to share it with you guys watching. Vance Joseph spent about 8 hours at Broncos headquarters today interviewing for a defensive coordinator job. Interview went well. Both Joseph and Rex Ryan run attack 3-4. Decision may come within the next couple of days. Eagles interview with Joseph tentatively set up for early next week. So Vance Joseph, we know, was hired as a leader of men, right? One of many cliches we love to throw around when it comes to talking about and describing head coaches. But Vance Joseph with the Arizona Cardinals, since he got canned by the Broncos, has been pretty good, in my opinion, for the expectation level for a Cardinals defense. He came in the first season, 2019, they're 28th in points allowed. But he quickly got them around, got them to 12th and 11th. And that's on a team that has spent some first-round picks on the defensive side, and there's some questionable schematic decisions made and personnel usage by Vance Joseph in this defense. But when we think about the Arizona Cardinals, does anyone think about defense or anything good about the defensive side of the football? So for Vance Joseph to get them decently relevant for 2 seasons, I mean, they completely fell off this year. The whole team fell off. Cliff Kingsbury got fired. Everything went down the drain. So I don't really look at that as an absolute damning effect. But I think all in all, Vance Joseph, decently good 4 seasons with the Cardinals. Personally, I'm really not crazy about either of these candidates. I want to believe in Sean Payton, so I'll be a bit of a sheep and blindly trust him. But I think if I had to pick one, I've kind of changed my mind. I think I would lean towards Rex Ryan. I know I didn't really give a huge boost of confidence for Rex at the start of the show, but hiring a defensive coordinator who was 31st in points allowed the season before also doesn't really make me want to do cartwheels. So if I had to pick one, I'll go with Rex Ryan because I know that his defense has been elite before. It's been a while, but it has been there. I haven't seen the same from Vance Joseph. But pick a DC for me. Rex Ryan or Vance Joseph. Put the initials for the coach you'd rather have be on the Broncos sideline or up in the booth calling the defensive plays next season. Now, before we get out of here, we got some quick nuggets to hit on from Dre'Mont Jones because the window to apply the franchise tag is opening up tomorrow. It'll be from February 21st to March 7th, and the 2023 franchise tag value for the defensive end position is a hair below $20 million at $19.72. Personally, I think $19.72 million for Dre'Mont Jones is too high. I don't think he's worth that kind of money. Now, his last 4 seasons, his whole career, really, he's been consistent, right? 6.5, 5.5, 6.5 sacks. He also does a great job of pressures, applying pressure to the quarterback. But when I look at those stats, does anyone see 6.5 and think that's $20 million right there? Personally, no. Now, we've had some interesting flair and rumors and drama when it comes to Dre'Mont Jones. Go back to November 9th when he was asked during a media session with reporters about his future, with him being in the last year of his contract. He said, "I view my standing with the franchise as this is Dre going into year 4. That's all I can say." And then a follow-up question was asked about his future with the Broncos, and he said, "I'm here right now." Now, George Payton somewhat subtweeted that and was asked about Dre'Mont Jones' future with the team. And he said, "He is one of our core players, and we want him here for a long time. We'll just leave it at that." So it appears that, well, at least from George Payton's 2-sentence takeaway, they would like to have him back, but all that it's just 2 sentences. Now, we've heard a lot of rumors around the offseason and Dre'Mont Jones' future, and whether or not he would walk in free agency. And he gave a decent vote of confidence that he would stay with the Broncos moving forward. Just last week, he tweeted out, "Denver Bronco fam, I love the love and critiques that I've been getting these past few days. It keeps me humble, LOL. I want to be a Bronco for as long as possible." So that right there somewhat says everything you need to know about Dre'Mont Jones and whether or not he wants to leave in free agency or whether or not his first initial priority is to re-sign with the Broncos. It's just a tweet, but it's something because it comes from him. Sorry, we're going to do a little video editing. I had a complete cough attack for a second. But when we look at Dre'Mont Jones' contract projection from Spotrac, which I don't think is the Bible, I don't think it's an absolute, they think he's going to get a 4-year, $68.5 million contract. That's an average of $17.1 million a season. Now, remember, the franchise tag is $19.772. So this would be a hair below that. But the fear would be if they can't come to terms on a contract, right? If Dre'Mont Jones wants $20 million and the Broncos are looking at him thinking $15, do they just sort of split the difference and go with the franchise tag? I don't think so, because it's not splitting the difference. It's just $250,000 less than $20 million. Also, the highest paid defensive ends, if you're looking for a point of reference of what $20 million looks like, it looks like Max Crosby to Leonard Williams to Von Miller. Does anyone think Dre'Mont Jones is at the status of those 3 players? Personally, I do not. I think Dre'Mont Jones is closer to the $15 million a year range. But when I guess the point I want to make is $15 million for a guy that's never gone over 6.5 sacks in a season, I don't think is that much of an underpay. I like Dre'Mont Jones. I think he's a good player, and I think he could really, emerge on the scene as one of the better defensive ends in football. But he also has not gone for a double-digit sack season. So I don't want to stand here and pretend like, write him a blank check. He deserves $20 million a season if that's what he wants. I haven't seen him go for 7 sacks yet, right? Let's dial back all the zeros, and I think $15-ish million is in the range of Dre'Mont Jones, and personally, I think that's what he will be getting in free agency. But be the GM for me. Should the Broncos tag Dre'Mont Jones? The fear would be that they cannot reach a long-term deal, and they don't want to let him walk. But then you got to give him $19.7 million, and that is a little too high for my liking. I think $19.7 million is an overpay for Dre'Mont Jones, but they also at the same time, they can't afford to lose another pass rusher. The last 2 years, you lost Von Miller and Bradley Chubb to trade. If you lose Dre'Mont Jones to free agency, you're left with Baron Browning and Randy Gregory. Both good players. Both unreliable players. At least Randy Gregory. So if you know that you're going to be missing some games between those two players as your top two pass rushers, well, now you're going to Jonathan Cooper, which is fine, serviceable, but just that, fine and serviceable. I think they have to do whatever it takes to keep him in Denver, but at the same time, walk that fine line of we can't pay $19 to $20 million for a player that's never had a double-digit sack season. That's just not good business. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in and clicking on to today's video. If you haven't subscribed yet, Broncos Country, please go ahead and do so.